For the second week in a row, the ABN Champ Car World Series is again in California. This time, though, it's an oval, and an oval unlike any other. The 2-mile circuit in Fontana is the place to be tonight. Welcome to the Auto Club Speedway. This is the Auto Club 300. You're watching live on ABN Esports. I'm David Kreutz, joined tonight by Taylor Mills. Unfortunately, Olivia Hayward not going to be with us, as it's going to be 94 laps of racing here at one of the biggest circuits we're touching upon in this entire schedule. An oval with high speeds. It's going to be attrition as well. And we've seen the oval so far, the more chaotic part of our schedule, especially the most recent ones. Tracks like New Hampshire, Las Vegas, Texas. They've been the catalyst for some very exciting racing. And coming from a nice trip down to Long Beach, California, where Austin Farr got the victory once again, sort of sets the stage to return to California, this time with a completely different style of racing. Practice is on the way, and it looks like 3 minutes and 50 seconds left for those who are still taking times. Austin Farr is again at the top of the charts right now with a 32.537. He's on pit road currently, as everyone now taking their laps and getting settled in for the rest of the night here, Taylor. Now, as we look at the field, and we're discussing strategy points just before we get going, 94 laps is not an awful lot of time at this track, especially with the caliber of the field that we're dealing with here. Everyone going to be very close to each other in terms of pace from top to bottom, so no concerns of real outliers tonight. You got a lot of speed being pulled together. It's a drafting circuit in a sense, because if you get into that pack, it's very tricky to entirely lose it. There's also tire strategy on the way, could be fuel, and tonight, sizzling temperatures as well. Not going to be easy, but it's a different workload relative to Long Beach or any other oval we've seen so far. So before we, of course, get things going here to qualifying, any tickets to success that we've got to look at tonight?
Oh, it's only the normal for a speedway, David. It's going to be all about the ARBs, the weight jacker, who can use those the most effectively, as well as hunting for that clean air in the corners. With only 14 degrees of banking to use here at Auto Club, you're going to need to use as much of it as you can. The downforce on the car is doing a hell of a lot of work out there on track tonight. And this is one of those tracks where we are going to be being a bit of a pack from start to finish of this one. So taking advantage of the clean air, the slipstream where you can, and using your tools to balance out the car in the dirty air. Whichever driver can make the most of that is going to be the driver that comes out on top tonight. Thanks to the scorching track temperatures you talked about earlier, just hugging that inside line like we saw at Las Vegas and Texas earlier this year isn't going to be so doable, because you're going to burn off that right front and burn out that right rear, and then you're just going to be very vulnerable to attack from the outside. We're going to see drivers using loads of lines tonight, right up against the wall, right down on the white line where they can and where they need to. But again, tyre management, part of the name of the game. Look after that front right, and you're going to go far.
Already in practice, we're seeing that multi-groove style of racing develop at Santos right now on the track with Alex Miller. Familiar faces, a few drivers making their debut tonight, and among others, it looks like for the first time this season, we are seeing Doug South. More than the 88 team as the night goes on. It's usually the returning visitors from the previous week that have come through, and a few drivers who got off to a hot start. We saw some rookies at Long Beach, one of which came home on the podium. That's Frankie Wynn, once again back with us tonight, but Austin Farr, he's up ahead in the practice charts, and he's coming in as our brand new points leader. The fight for the championship getting closer and closer after last week at not Las Vegas, but Long Beach, and the previous races as well, like Las Vegas and New Hampshire leading up to it. It's been a big swing in momentum. It's in the favor of Austin Farr right now, former championship leader Nicholas Pressey having some trouble, and the entire field having a lot of trouble at Long Beach. It's a different outlook as we come now to the second half of the season, and the points battle is in completely different hands. This could be another very crucial night here, Taylor, when we look at what's next for the drivers fighting for the championship.
Yeah, of course, Austin Farr we saw with that, get a little bit of a wreck just coming out of turn 2 there. But Austin Farr, kind of a surprise race win at Texas after the final corner crash between, involving Hamilton Akabuzi. But since then, he just kind of hasn't looked back. Every time he's turned up, he's come in and he's pretty much won. And it's been a domination that we've that we've not seen since last season with Bruno Miranda.
With 4 seconds left, Austin Farr, again the fastest driver on the charts, this time in practice. It's going to be a 32.537, fastest. And now, time to take that energy and perhaps put it into qualifying. 10 minutes, 4 laps, and it's going to be a short qualifying session here for these drivers as it's a single car outlook for just about everyone. Carmen Sienna now on the way, among others. Sienna right now going to be getting on the move after putting up a time, a 32.874 in practice. A lot of drivers are in that 32-second bubble right now, so it doesn't look like it's necessarily challenging to be quick. You just got to figure out what it takes to be the best of everyone in the field. Sienna on the way, among others here, Doug South, Alex Martin on pit road, Craig Forsyth there as well. A lot of drivers who are not moving, and now it looks like Doug South is qualifying with scorching temperatures, and we're just at 44 degrees Celsius right now, or 130 Fahrenheit. The track temperature in the triple digits when it comes to, of course, freedom units here. It is burning in California, I'll tell you this much. How's that going to affect our qualifying strategy here as we, of course, are just getting things going?
Surprisingly, not as much as you might think. The most important part about qualifying is making sure you're placing the car correctly. Tire temperature is going to help with that, because if you've got nice cold front tires, you're going to have that bite on turning that you want. But no, it's all about car control for this one. Don't get out of shape. Don't lose the rear end. Again, don't burn off that front right. These cars are set up really, really loose in qualifying, and you can use the tools, as we always say, to balance that out. As you see Doug South rolling around very, very slowly on the oval. He's keeping those tire temps down whilst trying to get temperature into his engine, because as we've seen earlier in the season, a lot of these guys on the speedways are sitting in pit lane letting kind of heat soak into the engine, warm it up and get it at that optimum temperature. But perhaps Doug South got a bit of experience, slowly building up to it, burning off some fuel, and I think he might go for it on the last lap. But yeah, as so often is the case, these guys know a lot more about the tires than we've been able to predict. Of course, we picked the wrong tires, the race tire at Charlotte Roval. So perhaps the strategy is just back off a little bit, stay cool for a moment, and then push in those final 2 laps. On some of the oval rounds as well, we've seen the likes of Nicholas Pressey kind of do 2 stints in qualifying. He's gone out, done 2 laps, and then pitted, well, not even pitted, reset to the pit lane, taken a fresh set of tires, and gone again. So perhaps we're going to see something like that again tonight.
Looks like Tommy Withers now just getting off of pit road is running through an entire cycle of drivers. Withers, among others, not with a time. So far, Alex Miller is fastest with a 33.866. But of course, we're just getting started here, and the times are a few seconds off of our fastest in practice. Bear in mind, we're not expecting to see the quickest of times right now, given the fact, of course, the draft played such a big role. Miller, he's on top. Joshua Gaiman right now at the stripe. 6th spot. He's going to move right up in it, and it looks like now 220 miles an hour as he goes right into turns 1 and 2. Still going to be Alex Miller with control, and now Sophie Connell jumping up into 3rd in the number 69. Looks like a nice run. Going to come to an end there as Carmen Sienna now on pit road. Austin Farr going to be slowly rolling. Looks like no improvement on that last lap for the 52, and Farr is done right now, of course, on the front row.
Yeah, I can't say I'm surprised by Alex Miller's pace. He's been up there at a few of our more slower paced ovals. We saw him fighting for the win at New Hampshire and getting involved in some battles last time out as well. So it's nice to see someone different at the top as Lilac Zier goes to the top of the standings with a 33.814 out of nowhere. I say, a few surprises already coming in tonight. Austin Farr not at the top of the standings, but Lilac Zier has just gone from strength to strength so far this season.
Lilac Zier looking better and better just about every week, seeing some strategy calls alternate to everyone else in the field that have worked out quite nicely, and now maybe a chance to go for it on pace from start to finish. At the line, no improvement there. However, Lilac safely up in front by a gap of about 55 thousandths of a second, just under that marker. Looking good right now for that number 89 team, and Lilac right up there. We've seen more and more of this 89 team ahead as Craig Forsyth now moves up into third, and it looks like Forsyth now in his final lap, just a tenth away from maybe grabbing that pole position.
Yeah, Craig Forsyth, self-proclaimed oval specialist. It's one of our road course race winners this year and podium sitter last time out at Long Beach. Banged it in third place here at Auto Club before then being beaten by one of last week's fellow podium sitters, Frankie Wynn, who, I'll bring it up again, what a fantastic attitude to racing they had. They had some really lovely words to say after taking that podium finish at Long Beach last week. But yeah, Craig Forsyth with pace that we've seen out of him so far on ovals, but he just hasn't quite had that look that the likes of Austin Farr have had so far. So maybe today is going to be a turn of fortunes for him.
One driver, brand new to the circuit, Doug South, and we're on the topic of rookies. It's been great to see a group of drivers coming in that we haven't seen so far, bringing a great energy to the table here when it comes to our virtual Champ Car series. Now, that's one thing often we don't highlight, but I think it's a big thing to take from Long Beach. These drivers absolutely putting in the work week after week to bring the speed, and it means an awful lot to get a podium in such a competitive series. Doug South, a driver who, well, if we're going to talk about it, early on, just before the broadcast, we got word that tonight, Olivia's pick is this number 88. So South with some big shoes to fill with a slower first lap. Now coming around, dropping down to the apron. This will be the money lap for the Doug South crew, and at the line, 34.394 moves to 15th, so it's going to be a long road ahead. However, Doug South with some confidence from, of course, Olivia Hayward to move through and make it in to the qualifying bout. 15th for the time being anyway. Carmen Sienna on pit road. Tommy Withers is still going, and you can see Withers looks to be on his final lap, so maybe a chance for one final improvement here before all is said and done. 3 minutes remaining.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of chatter from the paddock. A lot of these drivers are complaining about turn-in on the car. Josh Gaiman, quote, not even sure how anyone got that to turn in. I had no feeling in the wheel. Of course, it's a fixed setup. Everyone has exactly the same car and setup here tonight. So, as I say, it's going to be about how each driver handles, how the car handles, and who can get the best out of their package. Sophie Connell offering a little bit of advice, bumping up the weight jacker, playing around with the ARBs to try and make something work. And that seems to have worked for Lilac's here. If you could give Lilac a bad setup, she's still going to go out there and set a decent lap on it. That girl is so adaptable.
Looks like a few drivers having trouble, particularly what's going on. It looks like Lilac Zier going to make a little bit of extra when it comes to those notes. Good bit of lifting on the entry in. And it was Joshua Gaiman mentioning not a lot of feeling in the wheel for his 61 during qualifying. Good for 11th right now, but certainly looking to get that feeling in, which is ever so important at such a high speed. Over 200 miles an hour. Fraser looks to be done. And Lily going to drop down at the exit of 2, leaving Edson Santos now on the track. Edson on his final lap. Parker Alexander, Zach McBride, only 2 drivers that have not taken a time so far. It looks like Zach has not stepped onto the track tonight, so we'll see what the call is for the 47 team. Not even putting a practice lap in, so maybe a chance, unfortunately, the 47's out of it as Santos jumps up to 18th on that lap, and Edson going to give it all he's got there as Bryce Saucier has just joined the party, and now up to 20th, our final registry of the night.
Yeah, it's kind of it's nice to see that what we were worried about when we came to another super speedway like this was there'd be enough grip on the car for the leader to just hold the inside and never be able to be passed. But what we're seeing in qualifying, there is going to be a little bit of car control skill needed to make sure the car gets through the corner on the line that you want it to. At Las Vegas and Texas, as I say, we had, especially Vegas, we had plenty of downforce on the car that you didn't need to lift or really adjust anything on turning to get the car through the corner. But it looks like we're going to see a lot of that tonight. It just means all those different lines, as you were talking about earlier, David, are going to be available and open to use for our drivers. And it isn't just going to be a case of hook the white line and win.
Going to take a versatile group of drivers tonight to succeed in Auto Club. Bryce Saucier, up in the wall, and that's his run. Good for 16th. I'm sure he wanted a little bit more there coming out of the final lap, pushing for everything. And it looks like now Carmen Sienna and Zach McBride alone on the track. Zach is up to 15th, but I think for McBride, that is it. Coming across the line, final lap, and at a slower pace. Looks like he's going to call it quits and end his run. Parker Alexander, the only driver now not to take a qualifying lap. The 45 not even on the track, and that's going to leave the rest of the field set up for qualifying here. At the top of the board, Lilac Zier, our pole sitter, here in Fontana.
Who'd have thought that? We've seen such brilliant pace from her so far on the ovals, and now she's finally gone and put it on pole position. It's going to take a little bit more than luck to win the race here tonight, but if anyone can try and turn the luck to their best and come up with the best strategy, it's going to be Lilac Zier. But she's got some really stiff competition alongside her tonight, because Craig Forsyth has put it second on the grid and lines up alongside her.
And now time to figure out who's got what it takes. 23 drivers from top to bottom. Let's take a look down the starting grid here in Fontana. Lilac Zier at the top of the board with a 33.815. Then from there, Craig Forsyth outside of the front row. You see him right there in the center of your frame. 33.829, a gap of 15 one-thousandths of a second in qualifying. Third place is going to be immediately after in Alex Miller, and Frankie Wynn finished third, starting fourth tonight, looking to go for back-to-back podiums in the number 16. Austin Farr is your defending winner, and tonight will start in fifth with Sophie Connell sixth and Lily Peltier Sharp seventh, with Pacey Wigent in eighth. To round out the top 10, it'll be Edson Santos in ninth, and the top 10 concluded by Emily Howe with a 34.013 there in 10th.
Much better qualifying from Alex Martin this week, who starts P11 alongside previous points leader Joshua Gaiman. A really strong lineup of oval drivers, 13th and 14th, Bobby Blowers and Carmen Sienna. Going to be excited to see how those guys get off tonight. Zach McBride starts alongside Bryce Saucier, another two drivers with some fantastic pace on the super speedways. Bruce Silver lines up alongside Nicholas Pressey. 19th on the grid goes to Tommy Withers. A series rookie, Doug South, starts P20. Lily Fraser, P21, alongside the number 28 of Mo Perry. And starting last on the grid with no time set, car 45 of Parker Alexander. Maybe in one of the better spots tonight. We know that super speedways can throw up a little bit of chaos. So perhaps their strategy is to just hang off the back, keep it in mix 5, and then see what they can do from there.
Top to bottom, Parker Alexander, the final driver, and now the iRacing pace car on the move. Drivers rolling out for the first time in Fontana. It's just about time to get things going for the second week in a row here in California. Now, unfortunately, Auto Club Speedway doesn't quite exist in this form any longer. The rumors are it's going to be converted into a short track. Only the front stretch is remaining as it stands. The rest of this 2-mile circuit immortalized in sim racing. However, unfortunately, that's all that remains. So, hallowed grounds in California motorsport, but only existing in the virtual realm. Lilac Zier with an opportunity to go for a very first victory in this campaign for the 89 team. Champ car driver and getting it done week after week, consistently running inside the top 10. Strategy finesse has been the name of this team's game, but now up against the best in the business. We got Craig Forsyth, the winner this season, right beside Alex Miller, Frankie Wynn, impressive runs as recent as last week. Lilac Zier with an opportunity to shine, but 94 laps away from the checkered flag, it will not be easy.
No, we do have some championship contenders slightly further down the field tonight. As we mentioned, Emily Howe starting P10. And a correction, previous points leader Nicholas Pressey down in 18th. We know how well those guys go on tracks like this. And we also know how much they want to, try and claw back some of the points that they lost to Austin Farr as the pace car comes into pit lane already.
And time to get things going here from Fontana. Lilac Zier in control, and the green flag will wave. Welcome to Auto Club Speedway. We're underway for 300 kilometers in sunny California. Lilacs here across the line, going to take that first lap, but not without some pressure from Alex Miller. Field's going to be pretty far spread out here, Taylor, and it looks like Miller now going to jump up to lead, bringing Austin Farr with them there as Lilac going to be on the bottom side. 2x2 racing, drivers using multiple grooves from the bottom side all the way up nearly to the wall here. And at the line again, new race leader in the 49 as he comes across the stripe, and that puts Lilac down into third. So early shuffling, and it looks like already quite the difference in position. But we got to find out what's next as drivers set themselves up for the rest of the night. There goes Lily Pelletier sharp right up top, and you can see drivers no hesitation in making these moves, and we are on the way in Auto Club.
Yeah, I can't tell you how happy I was to see such a clean start from all the drivers out there in the field tonight, though. We were talking about Lilacs here and her alternate strategies. You see, she did manage to get a jump on the rest of the field, but very quickly dropped back into the pack. I don't think that was unintentional. I think she's already in map 5 and just trying to vibe it and get to that final stint, because we see she's still losing places. Lilacs here already down 7 off the start of this race, slotting in behind Carmen Sienna though, who one of our biggest movers so far this season, is up 7 places and up into 7th place already.
Carmen Sienna known for this particular strategy, going from the back of the field on up, not really intentionally, rather just some troubles with qualifying. That's how we'll put it. It's a very, very stout field with these champ cars, so it's never easy to make it up there. As you see 3 wide, it's Austin Farr, Alex Miller, not to mention Joshua Gayman's now in the mix, and it looks like now Joshua getting the feeling in the wheel and confidence to take the race lead. The 61, the best he's looked all night long, and it's now Joshua up to the race lead. It's a train on the high side, and the bottom's going to be lonely for the 52, and that's a move up from 12th to the lead. How about that? The 61 up to the top of the board, and now you've got a new driver at the point with Lily Pelletier Sharp right beside.
This is going to be one of the strangest comparisons I'm going to make all year, David. The racing that we're seeing at the moment is extremely similar to Formula E. You saw coming into turn 3 last lap, no one really wanted to make a move. Lily Pelletier Sharp took to right under the railing of Josh Gayman, but not really wanting to make a move and go to the lead of this race. Because if you're at the front of the field, you're going to be punching a massive hole in the air for all the other 22 drivers behind you, who are all going to be saving fuel, or saving energy as it would be in FE's case, saving fuel behind you and extending their fuel stint. I think Josh Gayman's really having to try and force Pelletier Sharp to try and get around the outside. Alex Miller, though, going to the high side, going to get a great run off the exit of 2 here. Josh Gayman, though, still holding that inside line nice and tightly. Lily Pelletier Sharp just sticking right to his outside. No momentum in anyone's favor at the moment, though, but that shorter inside line just allowing Josh Gayman to slip back up the inside of Pelletier Sharp and get back in front and back into that clean air. Austin Farr now, though, just holding that inside line alongside Alex Miller and Sophie Connell, I believe, on the high side as well. Sophie Connell, not seen too much from them so far this season, as they've had some really, really poor luck on the ovals, but it's great to see them up in 6th place for car 69.
A few drivers looking for oval redemption. You mentioned Sophie Connell in the 69 campaign, but Lily Pelletier Sharp, a driver who's also had a fair share of incidents at these oval circuits from the very beginning. However, tonight so far, toe-to-toe with Joshua Gayman, and coming across the stripe one more time, it looks like Gayman going to have the advantage at the line, but it won't be all too major as now Carmen Sienna down to the inside there in a 3-wide fight with Austin Farr and Sophie Connell. Quick move there for Carmen. It looks like everyone from second on back not going to be worried at all about making those moves and setting themselves up for the rest of the race. Got a rookie in the form right there of Pacey Widgeon, the 00 side by side with Sienna, and your top 10.
Gayman spins.
And Gayman's going to go all the way into the field. We've got a massive pileup. Caution is out. The 61 from the lead is obliterated, and the caution will fly for the first time tonight.
Wow, how about that? That is one of the most unexpected things that I've seen all season. Josh Gayman just losing control of the car and just spins right up the track, just the rear end getting away from him. Not really due to any fault of his own, that's just the nature of the circuit, but did he collect anyone there? There was no contact, the car just lets go on him. And did he collect Sophie Connell?
Sophie Connell involved in as well, yes. Wow.
Just as I was talking about how poor their luck was this season and how they were finally pulling off a good race so far, they get absolutely wiped out by an out-of-control Josh Gayman.
And for Josh Gayman, no contact as we were looking back at the replay there until, of course, hitting the wall was brutal force and giving way to that caution. Yellow flag is out. Sophie Connell going to be involved with some severe damage, and both of which down on pit road right now. That might be the races, mind you, as Lily Pelletier-Sharp and the rest of the field down and in. Looks like Carmen Sienna opting to stay out. Pit road is busy for the first time tonight, and now time to figure out who's going to have the edge as Lily leads them through, and now Carmen Sienna, the lone outlier, decides to stay out for the first caution of the night.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see who can get the short stop here. It's going to be all about who saved the most fuel during that first run. Lily Pelletier-Sharp stopped for a really short amount of time there. I think they only took fuel on that stop, and they do come back out in the net lead. Carmen Sienna, though, we know is a bit of a points hunter in these sorts of races, so she's gone out there to try and lead a lap and pick up a few extra points. But as we know, points are really important, and they're going to maybe give her the edge in a championship battle. Maybe not for the championship, but for something a little bit further down, may help her out come the end of the season. But she's one of those drivers that we know likes to go for some of those alternate strategies where she can. So perhaps Carmen's expecting another caution before she runs out of fuel.
And now Carmen Sienna up ahead, and you got to wonder, maybe looking out for cautions to keep on breeding cautions. 9 laps in when we had the yellow. We're already 11 laps through in about 6 minutes. So goes to tell you, we're looking at a very quick race, all things considered, if we were to stay at that rate. Carmen Sienna perhaps preparing for a little bit more trouble as the 96 staying out and saving a tire set. Now, when we look at tire sets tonight, there looks to be a limit of 6, of course, plus the one you're starting with. So these drivers, I don't think they're going to be concerned about what they have necessarily. However, it's good to be mindful. So Carmen Sienna going to be a little bit more proactive with that relative to the rest of the field and decide to set up for what is next. And that might be another incident. 1 lap to green this time by Sophie Connell, Josh Gayman, both done. So it looks like their nights are over just like that. A very unfortunate way for all to go out as both drivers looking so quick. Gayman leading and Sophie Connell just a few spots behind. Done. And it's going to be our first incident of the day, bringing Carmen Sienna to the lead, and now Lily Pelletier-Sharp there in second.
Just something to take a note of. Pole sitter Lilac Sear currently down in P19 and on pit lane. I'm thinking, knowing her, she's just come in to top off the tank and try and extend this second stint of the race. But as always, she's put herself on an alternate strategy, and she's going to be someone to keep an eye on.
Different look now in 19th. And we'll see where that goes. It's different, I'll tell you that much. And Carmen Sienna, different as well. So, front and back of the field, trying new things. Lily Pelletier-Sharp, winner off of pit road. And let's see if these drivers are a little less aggressive as well. That might be one thing to keep an eye out for as Carmen Sienna leads them back down and in. This time by, it's going to be Sienna, Lily Pelletier-Sharp, Alex Miller, and Pacey Widgeon. 1, 2, 3, 4 with Austin Farr then in 5th. Time to get things going again. iRacing official pace car. I'm going to let them loose, and it'll be Carmen Sienna in full control as we come back to the start-finish line. First restart of the day. Sienna with the race lead from 14th. Here we go. Green flag is going to drop on the hands of the number 96. Carmen Sienna leads us back to green.
Early shuffling of the order already then as Lily Pelletier-Sharp makes her way back to the front of the field. Austin Farr, who restarted P5, already up to P4, pulling a really nice move on Pacey Widgeon pretty much as soon as the restart happened. But now fighting to try and get a run on Alex Miller. These two we know have history going at it at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. That slightly tighter run off the exit of 4 though really compromised him on the run down to turn 1. And he gets repassed by Pacey Widgeon. As we still have a side-by-side lead for the battle. Alex Miller, oh, there's contact!
And up
Carmen
and over,
Sienna and Lily
almost.
Pelletier-Sharp.
Pelletier
Lily
up in the air, wow.
Right over the front of Carmen Sienna. damage to the front end, but no caution.
Oh, can
Yeah,
you believe it?
Both drivers managing to keep it out of the wall, continuing on with damage, but that makes Pacey Wygen a first-time race winner here in ABN Champ Car.
Well,
race
leading the
leader,
way.
sorry.
Might be a win, but you don't know already. From the lead, again, another incident. Watch on board. Lily goes soaring and keeps it straight. How about that?
If this was real life, she may have broken her back off that one. But yeah, just Carmen maybe coming down a little bit too much on corner exit and Lily trying to go up a little bit too far for where Carmen was given her the space. Just two cars into one never works. And that's going to really hamper those two's races from here on out.
Oh, what a way to get things going. It's now going to be Pacey Wygen up in front. Edson Santos moving up to third, and Santos looking for a bit of oval redemption himself. First at the line in Texas, but that's not all how it was said and done after final calculations involved with Hamilton Akabuezi in that last lap incident and lost that win as a result. Now Santos coming through up to the lead is side by side with Pacey and Alex Miller right behind. Maybe Santos going to find that racing redemption today as the number 20 gets up to the lead, clearing on Pacey, only to be swiped right back to the bottom as the 00 is going to go back for the lead at the line. Minor advantage to Pacey, 8/1000ths of a second.
Yeah, we know how fast the number 20 car of Edson Santos is. Their pace really coming good at Texas Motor Speedway. Of course, getting involved in that late race incident that handed the victory to Austin Farr, who's currently sat in P7. But we've got that top line forming again, David. Just no one really wanted to pass anyone. All kind of saving fuel and waiting for something to happen. Edson Santos, though, managing to keep hold of the lead for now. Pacey Wygen ducks back to the inside and takes that much shorter run on the run down to turn one. Austin Farr also popping out of the draft in the background, not getting dragged along like all his fellow racers on the top side at the moment. Alex Miller being really sensible at the moment, though, just letting these two leaders fight it out where they can. Saving a bit of fuel, probably in mix 5, as Edson Santos back to the inside of turn 3 on that low line once again, but burning up that front right tyre all the time in this 55 degrees Celsius track temp.
And at the line now, it's going to be Edson Santos back on top. Pacey keeping him honest here as they come across the stripe again. And now 19 laps into 94. A few other drivers maybe going to be protagonists in the lead battle as the race goes on. Craig Forsyth, Frankie Wynn, Austin Farr still there. Maybe backing off and now establishing that second pack for Craig Forsyth in the 40 Racewear machinery. It looks like he's running just outside the podium. And you can see slowly but surely maybe creeping in on Alex Miller. Miller choosing to stay high in the most recent laps, and Forsyth just following the wave and letting that draft do a lot of the work. Frankie Wynn now going to be down to the bottom side, perhaps on Zach McBride. Zach goes up top, much like Alex Miller, and you can see, there you go, down to the bottom side again. That is going to be, of course, Frankie Wynn, the rookie, second race of his campaign, looking for something, hasn't quite gotten it.
Yeah, a little bit of side-by-side still there through turns 3 and 4 with Austin Farr. Craig Forsyth pulling off a little bit of a slide job in turns 1 and 2 last lap. They're just trying to make up a little bit of time in the leaders and try and get back to the front. We're seeing Pacey Wygen and Edson Santos swapping position at every lap at this rate. At other tracks, this may be a way to try and build a lead to the rest of the pack, but with how short the straights are here, despite the fact it's a relatively long circuit, there's just not enough time to build the momentum and build the gap to the guys behind, because they're already getting dragged back up to the back of you before you can even do anything about it.
Edson Santos going to try to pull away on that lap, and that's going to be a gap of about 2/10, but with this pack coming in, it's going to be very hard to defend for long. Doing a good job so far, I'll say that much for Edson Santos, but it's not realistic to say he'll be there forever. 3 wide, Austin Farr going to be with Emily Howe and Frankie Wynn further back. We haven't discussed Emily Howe so much tonight, from 10th up to 8th. Not major gains so far, but maybe the pace to stay up in the mix now is Craig Forsyth. Now I'm going to go 3 wide with Wynn and Howe again. Emily coming across the stripe, maybe going to have the leg up on Craig Forsyth, but it's nothing major. And you still got to look ahead for the closest battle in this race. Santos and Pacey Wygen so close again, but it just looks like for now Edson Santos with that minor advantage, which makes all the difference. Now 23 laps in at a 94, we're nearly a third of the way through, and most drivers have had their first pit stop here, Taylor, so Pit stop estimates, green flag cycle, what should we be looking out for here as we get more to a developed run?
I don't want to say anything too soon, but my theory is a lot of these drivers are out there saving fuel. Emily Howe, we know, has got a really strong head on her shoulders and is a very, very intelligent race car driver. I can tell you now, she's been saving fuel this entire run so far, absolutely no doubt, and making up positions whilst doing it. So it's going to be something to keep an eye on. We're not quite sure how long a fuel stint's going to go here. Hopefully we do get a nice long green flag run in to see exactly how far these cars can go on a tank to perhaps clue us into how the end of this race is going to look. But I think what we're seeing now at the moment is a lot of these guys have settled into a bit of a rhythm. As we've mentioned, we've got that top side that aren't really going anywhere. They're just holding their pace, holding their line as Austin Farr looks to the inside of Zach McBride and makes that move work. Jumps back up to 5th position. But the run through the corner just kind of pushing him back down again. And Zach McBride manages to retake that place off him almost straight away. But we've got that back and forth. Everyone just using that draft, sitting where they are and being patient. Everyone's looking for that green flag pit stop at the moment by the look of things.
Well, everyone except Emily Howe is patient. Look at Emily up to 2nd now and actually took the lead about a half lap ago.
Making those moves work. Emily Howe, a 2-time race winner so far this season. Her first season in Champ Car machinery, actually. But her previous Cup Car knowledge has seemed to transfer over quite well because she has been so speedy so far.
And you're right about that. ABN exploits with the Winsdale Cup Series, so Emily Howe, a frequent flyer, no doubt about that, but is impressed immediately this season with the Champ Cars. That's something we didn't quite expect to see, that immediate conversion and translating speed with stock cars to the open wheel realm. Perhaps the most impressive part of Emily Howe's campaign to this point. Craig Forsyth down to the bottom side now looking for a run. Has Alex Miller right beside. It looks like Craig can't quite get in the podium just yet. Gonna slot back in and wait for a little bit more with Zach McBride, Austin Farr all keeping company. Looks like right now within a 1.5 seconds of your leader, 13 drivers going back to Lilac Zier. Alternative strategy for the 89 and still hanging in the pack.
Yeah, Lilac Zier though, already up a good few places from where she started this stint. So not only has she got the brain on her to save fuel, she's been making up positions like Emily Howe has as well. Being aggressive though, going into the inside and making it 3 wide through turns 1 and 2. Easily going to pick up a position or 2 out of that one, but slots back in on the top side. I'm surprised, as much as I'm surprised there's so much momentum in that top side at the moment. I kind of expected it. We've seen how high the track temps are here today, and if you start trying to overuse that inside line, you're going to be burning off that right front tyre the entire time. So we see a lot of these guys just hanging it out on top, where you've got a lot less steering lock going into those front tyres, a lot less energy, and just trying to hold on to it for the end of the stint, because that's when you want to start making the moves.
Perhaps the most surprising thing right now is how well drivers are using these multiple grooves. Alex Miller in particular has been perhaps the best example of what it takes to be good on that top side. Looking way high in the number 49 machine as they go 3 wide behind. Alex Miller setting up quite nicely to get up to 2nd once again. High side dreaming, and it's now going to be up to the catbird seat. Edson Santos going to lead that lap, but Miller closing in, perhaps with an opportunity to take the next one. 30 laps in out of 94. We're a third of the way through, mind you, and Alex Martin going to be right there with the rookie and Frankie Wynn side by side, multiple rows deep. Then you go back a little bit further, you see Bobby Blammers, you see Bruce Silva, Parker Alexander. And that's about the point where everything gets really spread out here. Nicholas Pressey, and then there's Tommy Withers and Mo Perry. So right now, most drivers are still going to be all connected to one another. Everyone, I think, from, 5th on back, has to be saving a little bit more, maybe putting it down to map 5 or 6 and getting themselves ready for the long haul. Perhaps not yet worth it to battle for lead. Instead, save up for the next stint and go more aggressive from there. I think we're looking at a 2-stop strategy at most from this point onward.
Yep, seems like it. But one thing I want to note, just to try and really paint a picture as to how slow the race pace is at the moment. We know how much speed the draft usually gets you on racetracks like this. But Austin Farr, who's just put himself up into 3rd place, has been running that inside line out of the draft for so many laps up to this point and hasn't been losing any ground to the cars around him. So that's the biggest thing to show. that these guys really aren't pushing right now. Fuel save, very much the name of the game.
That time by for Austin Farr, when you mentioned him, with a 33.686, which would have been putting him on the pole, but it was not quicker than the top 5 times in practice here. So these drivers can definitely go much quicker, but right now I think they're all settled in at a solid pace, and you can see lined up all the way up high. Maybe that aggression level coming down more and more as we get through more of this race, and perhaps that's going to be the trend for the remainder of the night. I wouldn't expect it to be the way it is for the entirety of this race, but this first stint might come to a very calm end as everyone settles in, gets lined up, and goes from there. You see Frankie win with Doug South. South is up to 9th from 20th, a driver we have not mentioned all too much tonight, but Olivia's pick up there inside the top 10. Not a bad way to start things, about 30-odd laps through.
Doug Southend still making plenty of use out of his oval experience, mixed with another play, well, in a bit of a fight with the 00 pace of Wygent at the moment. Interesting to see how much they've dropped down from fighting with Edson Santos not so long ago. But those guys maybe shuffling position. Ooh, we've got a car in the wall spinning down to the inside. Who's that?
And it's going to be Doug South.
No way.
Oh, he goes down a pit road sliding like that.
Oh, yeah, Doug South, just as I was talking about how well he was doing, just getting too much into that dirty air of the car in front and trying to, not even that, way down on the inside, but just carrying way too much speed on exit. Was that?
Yeah, let's take a look one more time here.
Yeah, I'll leave this one to you, David. I think you've got the clearest view.
Well, we're looking at it right now, the aerial coverage, and Doug South was up top, drifting higher, higher, and there it goes. Oh, so close to contact with Pressey, and luckily it was just the right side tap. Honestly, Doug South's going to get lucky with that one. 16th now, 18th, he continues to drop down, but all things considered, that could have been much
big
worse.
Contact at the front of the field. Sorry, did you just cut in there, David? I'm barely able to make sense of that one as it happened.
Caution is out. Pacey Widgeon, among others, involved. Here's one more replay to show you what happened.
Unbelievable. Pacey Widgeon slotting down to the inside through turns 1 and 2. This is the replay, right, David?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, sliding up on the exit of turns 1 and 2, doing exactly the same thing Doug Santos did, but Zach McBride slides down to avoid, but moves back up the track right into the side of Pacey Widgeon. Obviously, there's nowhere Pacey could go. He was squeezed between a wall and another car.
And just like that, trouble again. Zach McBride involved with Pacey Widgeon and 2 incidents. That's going to save Doug South, I'll tell you that much, as South goes 1 lap down and is back on the track. Should have the lucky dog system play into his favor, and the 88 will be back on the way. So, 1 lap down for Doug South. That will be completely revised as we are under yellow for the 2nd time tonight. Caution is out for Edson Santos, among others. And now, I think we're going to get our second big pit cycle here. That's going to take away the need for a green flag run, and we will once again have a commentary through, this time Edson Santos, the man in control.
Yeah, definitely expect a nice long pit stop for Zach McBride's crew this time by. He has been shown the meatball flag. My shorthand prediction for what we're about to see here, Edson Santos has been fighting at the front of the field for all of the stint. So he's got the most fuel to take on board. Alex Miller may drop back a little bit as well. And championship leader Austin Farr, been on that inside line for most of this run, should lose a few places here. But I've been surprised before. It's all going to come down to a race of the pit crews and who can get out the pit box best.
Now we're watching Santos there. We're going to take a look at the pit road exit camera and see who makes it out first. Right now, Santos going to get the drop, and it looks like the advantage is in Edson Santos' favor. He'll get out right ahead of a very close battle there. It goes to Howell, then Miller, then Craig Forsyth. And it looks like further on back, you see drivers like Lilac Zier making it right through, Mo Perry, Carmen Sienna. I think Edson Santos has it again, and it will be another lead. This time for number 20, Edson Santos, back on the move once more.
Yeah, really impressive bit of driving from Edson Santos there to hold on to the race lead all throughout that pit cycle. But one of the most impressive bits of movement on pit lane that time round, Emily Howe up from 4th place, now 2nd, and poised to fight Edson Santos for this race win.
Looking at the field up in front one more time. Edson Santos going to be your leader, and right behind now it is going to be Emily Howe, and a very close battle between Alex Miller and, in addition, Craig Forsyth. Craig Forsyth going to be just ahead now of Alex Martin. So both the Alexes up in front. Martin we haven't spoke of much tonight, but now that 92 with a good shot up ahead. And a driver who got very close with that previous incident, that is Bobby Blowers, rather. Instead of Nicholas Pressey getting close, it looked like Blowers was the man nearly making contact with Doug South. He's in the mix here and inside the top 10 firmly as we are set to go. This time by, it is going to be now officially one lap to green. Blowers is going to be up ahead among others, but we're focusing specifically on Edson Santos, your race leader, when we come back to green at lap number 40.
Yeah, another single file restart to come here. I was quite impressed everyone managed to keep it clean on that first one. We have seen a couple of issues with the single file restarts in this series so far. Just a couple of drivers perhaps jumping the gun, being a little bit desperate to make up positions when the cars are as close together as they are. But all Edson Santos needs to do here is get a nice, not even a jump on the green flag, just set himself nicely up through turn 1 to get a good, clean run. And then there's going to be nothing Emily Howe can do for the moment. But if he can throw enough dirty air at her coming into turns 3 and 4, he might be able to send one of his biggest competitions in this race backwards very soon.
Due to find out who's got what it takes. We're coming up on that halfway marker, and we come on it rather quickly. The race has gone now just about 27 minutes from the drop of the green flag to this point, and Edson Santos has looked dominant to this point. He's gotten up to the lead, and he's been able to defend. Lilac Zier, who was our pole sitter, is back inside the top 10, down in 9th as we speak. So maybe Lilac now going to be in a similar cycle, a chance to drive back up through the field and show that there's a little bit more of that pole-winning speed inside the number 89. iRacing pace car down and in the hands of the field. Of course, Lilac Zier going to be further back. Edson Santos now in control. Green flag out for the number 20. Back on the move with Edson Santos leading your second restarts.
Nice clean restart then for everyone so far. Still got a lot of shuffling for position further down the field. Tommy Withers, Lily Fraser and Pacey Widgeon getting involved with each other. Austin Farr making up a position on Alex Martin, who hasn't restarted very well at all here. Craig Forsyth now up into 3rd place, looking to put a move on Emily Howe. Looking down to that slight inside line, right in that clear air, and manages to get up alongside Edson Santos into turns 1 and 2. I think he's about to take the race lead here, but no. Edson Santos with that slightly faster line on the outside. Just managing to hold on to the lead for now. Craig Forsyth having to check up just a little bit on corner exit, slots into P2.
Best that Craig Forsyth has looked at an oval all season long. The number 27 winner at Watkins Glen showed that immediate brilliance in the number 2017. Of course, hasn't quite gotten it ever since. However, Forsyth now in the mix, got a good run last week with that attrition at Long Beach, and now looking to back it up one more time. 2nd place on that day, and now he's going to make the move up to the lead. Craig Forsyth maybe back-to-back podiums here as he's up in front and ahead of defending winner Austin Farr. Farr going to go down to the bottom side, and so does Edson Santos. Edson to the bottom. He will go right through bottom side Dreamin', and it's good enough to get the pass and ride up to the top. Santos getting the lead back, but now the pressure is evident not only from Austin Farr, but from Craig Forsyth, who has newly put himself up into the mix as perhaps a race-winning contender for the laps to come. 43 laps in, just about halfway, and now we've got the 27 right in the mix for the race lead. Lilac Zier going to move up to 7th here with Alex Martin, and it looks like now some more changes for the drivers who are just beyond the confines of the win.
2 sides to the coin of this race. The head side, bit of fuel saving, but now we've flipped it over to the tail side. 1 stop guaranteed left in this race. So now everyone can burn a little bit of fuel and start racing for those positions and start leading this race. Edson Santos then still fighting Craig Forsyth, who's got a monster run on the run down to turn 1 and snatches P1 from Edson Santos even before turning. Edson, though, getting a brilliant run on that outside line. Just tucking in alongside Craig Forsyth once again, leaving each other plenty of room. Good, respectful racing so far. But that's let Austin Farr come back into the mix. Austin Farr to the low side then, trying to get a little bit of clean air on the left side of his car to give him some grip. Edson Santos, though, running away a little bit. And is that Lilac here there in the background on the low side?
That is going to be right now Alex Miller, but just behind the Purple Brigade, there is Lilac Zier. It's all three of our predominantly purple cars up in front, and they're going to be pushing through. And now, very close to one another, there goes Lilac Zier in 7th. Alex Miller's right now going to be inside the top 5. Mo Perry making moves, and Mo now going to be confident to the bottom side on Alex Miller. That could be the move for 5th here if Mo's due to make it from 22nd up to 6th. Mo Perry looking very good so far tonight, and now going to be our biggest mover of the race. Perhaps going to slide in between the Alexes as we speak. Emily Howe also there too, so Mo Perry got to give it up for this 54 team. As usual, tonight it's going to be, of course, the 28, and now he's there running beside Emily Howe, and it's going to be neck and neck here as he could get inside the top 4 when all is said and done with this fight.
Yeah, up 16, now 17 places off the start of this race. Mo Perry out there fighting the absolute titans on track, such as Emily Howe, doing everything he can to try and make up some of those positions that he lost at the start, and making moves to P3 down the inside of our current championship leader. Mo Perry wants this race win, and they're going to go and get it at this rate, but kind of being abandoned on the low side there, but manages to find a gap on the outside slot into. Austin Farr coming straight back at him, though, on the entrance to turn 3. Austin has been making plenty use of that low line so far this race, so perhaps burning off that front right tyre a little bit more than he wants to. But now sat side by side, no help on the low side from anyone right now, and no gap to slot into. Mo Perry looking in a much better position to try and get back up into P3, practically pushing Alex Miller through turns 1 and 2. Edson Santos, though, taking away that clean air from Austin Farr as he drifts up a little bit, almost into the side of Craig Forsyth, but keeping it clean so far. Lilac Zier there in the background, having a bit of a fight with, I want to say Bobby Blowers, Alex Martin. I can't quite tell from where I'm sitting. Just trying to make up some of those positions right around that outside on that much faster, cleaner air line, and almost now on the back of Emily Howe already.
Looking at
goes to the inside for a move, she's gone. Lilac Zier done all the fuel saving she wants. Our ex-pole sitter wanting to make the most of being able to push at this point in the race. And now Austin Farr's got a little bit of a helping hand on that low side.
Halftime, we just hit it, and it's a hornet's nest up in front. Looking at Austin Farr trying to eye down to the bottom side on Craig Forsyth. There's big trouble with some smoke. It looks like everyone still is going. Oh, Mo Perry, everything just got destroyed, and it just came back on that car. He's still with us, and we stay green as a result. Looks like a big slam in for Perry, but he will not give in or give up. Still in 5th right now, but Lilac Zier going to go down to the bottom side and maybe take that spot away. Looking at Lilac going low with Emily Howe in the mix as well. The 89 newfound confidence, and it looks like Mo Perry nearly tearing it down again with some scuffs on the right side. All is well. It's Austin Farr now goes down to the bottom. There is the drivers, of course, the 20 and the 52 respectively, neck and neck. Santos with the edge.
Emily Howe now looking for a move down the inside of... sorry, I lost track of myself there. Gets a move done down the inside of Mo Perry to retake that position that she lost earlier on in the race. Already now looking on the back of Alex Miller, who's trying to defend from 2 drivers at the same time. Plenty of dirty air on that high side, though, from Craig Forsyth, who just peels off the very top to give Alex Miller plenty on the front of his nose. But our eyes are still at the front of this field at the moment. Austin Farr tucked right up behind the rear wing of Edson Santos once again, looking to try and make a move work into turns 1 and 2. Both drivers staying high for now. Austin Farr just dipping that front wing out again, just to try and get some air on it and some grip on those front tyres. Most of these guys now looking to settle down into a little bit of a rhythm, because we're very, very quickly approaching the next round of pit stops. Still maybe about 10 or so laps to go before we start worrying about it, but it's in the back of these drivers' minds right now.
Austin Farr going to lie back into now the second spot. Mo Perry still going to be with Emily Howe despite what looked to be a huge hit. He got away with that one, that's for sure. Alex Miller now going to be up into the high side of the circuit. These multiple grooves have been working out differently for other drivers. Miller, a big proponent of the high side supremacy, he's been able to run inside the podium for a good portion of tonight's race. However, right now, Craig Forsyth defending well enough to keep that third spot. Austin Farr looking for what could be back-to-back victories yet again. He is very close to taking that lead, but tonight Edson Santos has been the man to beat, and so far Santos no signs of giving that away. As it stands in the laps that we've ran, 35 of 54 led for Santos, so he's led give or take a third of the entire race when we get to the checkered flag, and more than half of what we've run so far. So evidently a dominant driver Edson Santos has been, and he's still there leading the way as he comes across the line. Perhaps, of course, Edson Santos going to see Austin Farr by the time he gets there. But it looks like now that number 20 good to take another lap away. Miller and Mo Perry going to be close, and you see there Lilac Zier to the bottom side of the number 28. Maybe Lilac due to take another spot, but they go single file again, and once again training together, setting up for the green flag pit stops, which are even more likely to happen rather than the last time around.
Yeah, Alex Miller, though, did that time by looking to the high side on Craig Forsyth. And we've had the short track samba of trying to take lines away from each other, but this week we've got the super speedway waltz. You've got to try and guess where the car in front of you is going to try and take that air off your front wing. And if you commit to it too late, it's where the mistakes start to creep in, and you could accidentally throw yourself into the wall. But Alex Miller and Craig Forsyth just stepping on each other's toes a little bit as Craig is defending that outside line very aggressively into turns 1 and 2 and making sure that Alex Miller doesn't get any clean air on his nose. Settled into a bit of a rhythm here now, just waiting for something to happen essentially. But Emily Howe looking to the inside of Alex Miller now into turns 3 and 4. Right down on that low side, but Austin Farr is going to be down there to greet her and take all the air off her nose as she slots back into 5th position, not able to make anything happen that time by. But what that's done is that's let Mo Perry get another run on Emily Howe. Mo Perry looking right to the inside and carrying all the momentum on the inside line. Got all the clean air they need down there, but again, met by Austin Farr, who's taken all of the clean air off their nose once again. Mo Perry then looking to get 2, but only gets 1 out of that move.
And now Mo Perry once again going to bridge the gap between packs 1 and 2. Emily Howe now going to be right behind the number 83 at the front of the field. Edson Santos remains, but the stories are right behind the battle for the lead right now. It's a bit of a single file lineup. A few drivers trying bottom side, many others are slotting in. And right now patience is going to be it's going to be critical no matter where you are in the race, but when you've gotten down to this point, 37 laps to go with the fast laps we're running, it's not going to be enough time to really set up for the long term. We have seen our race pace once again decrease. We're at about 33.8 second laps, which would barely come in for the pole position for this race, mind you. Craig Forsyth, this time by, ran a lap only 19 thousandths quicker than his qualifying lap, and as he comes through again, he slightly improves upon that, but speed is not the focus right now, which you find surprising. It's such a quick track, but I think now it's going to be enduring these final few laps, getting down a pit road, and it's going to be 100% taking till the end. It's going to be take till the checkered flag drops, and with everyone set up nicely here, single file up top, you got to wonder who's going to be the first to make that move in and call for pit road. Nobody's called for it on this green flag run. Zach McBride is disconnected for the night after his complications, and now we are here. 35 laps remaining. Edson Santos to the point. Few other battles further on back, which have been close. Of course, you see Alex Martin with Bobby Blowers and the rookie and Frankie Wynn. But overall, nobody really going to make those daring moves yet as we look forward to what's next in the coming laps. Carmen Sienna also battling further back with the lapper of Lily Peltier Sharp. But the leaders doing pretty good so far.
Yeah, everyone using the closeness of the field at the start of that stint just to try and take some positions away from other drivers and use the freshness of the tyres as well. But as the heat's been pumped into the rubber and you can't quite take the corners as quickly anymore, your best bet, stick it in map 5, keep it safe and set up for the pit stops. That's what everyone's got their eye on now. You wouldn't think it, but you can actually hear it as the cars are going by. Like those revs, that peak revs that we're getting to is so much lower than what we were hearing at the start of the stint. Not quite at the start of the race. It's very much similar to where we were back then. But yeah, not so much aggressive moves going on at the moment because we're eyeing up those pit stops.
33 laps remaining. All eyes on pit road very, very soon here in the virtual Fontana, California. For those of you just joining in live on ABN, you're watching the Champ Car World Series every Wednesday night from here till May. Then we have our little summer break and we return for the rest of 2024. You're going to witness some high quality, high speed action from all types of circuits. The high banks, the short tracks, the road courses, and the street circuits in between. And the Champ Car World Series proud to present seasons 5 and 6 all throughout this year. So we tell you this much, before we get through with the rest of our racing coverage tonight, make sure to follow ABN Esports. We've recently hit over 1,000 followers on Twitch. Check out our social media platforms as you see on your screen right now, YouTube, X, and of course, among others, you've got a lot of choices and a lot of options to find us online with our social medias. You're watching ABN Esports, and we hope you enjoy tonight's coverage. I'm David Kreutz alongside Taylor Mills for tonight's broadcast, and you've gotten here at the perfect time if you just joined us or if you've been with us since the beginning. 32 laps to go, pit road coming in very, very soon, and as you mentioned, Taylor, aggression levels have dropped to almost an all-time low. You can see here Emily Howe, Mo Perry, Alex Martin running very calmly in the back half of the top 10. Even drivers who are not necessarily in the top 10 any longer. Lilac Zier has fallen a bit further off, maybe going to be aggressive later on. If we keep an eye on the drivers' aces at alternate strategies, you see Pacey Widget down low here on Lily Peltier Sharp, Tommy Withers, and Nicholas Pressey going back to Lily Frazier. Lily, the final driver on the lead lap, about 13 seconds behind. So, everyone right now who's within the top 10 has a real shot of staying up there, fighting for the lead. Top 10 is separated by 2 seconds to your race leader. Otherwise, it's going to be tricky, but I think right now, those who are within the gap from Bruce Silva to Edson Santos have a realistic chances. Oh, we got a spinner! Is that Frankie Wynn? Yes, it is! That was a single car spin, looping around. The caution is out.
You hate to see it. That's... we've had so many little incidents like that so far this race of drivers just getting it a little bit wrong out of turns. Was it 1 and 2, the wreck?
Yes, sorry, it was. We're looking at it again.
Glancing over my notes as we were going there. Yeah, everyone coming down to the low side, just trying to get a little bit of draft there. But Frankie Wynn actually managing to hold on to it quite well. Just a solo spin. I don't think there's any damage on that car. So perhaps a little bit of an early call on that caution.
It was a great save, all things considered. We might have gotten away with no caution. I mean, we saw that earlier incident with Lily Peltier Sharp up in the air and no caution there. Well, either way, it's a safety yellow and a spin at Auto Club, and never a good look. But Frankie Wynn doing a very good job, admirable, getting it out of the way, and other drivers doing a great job of getting it away from Frankie Wynn. All things considered, minimal damage, but he's got to get new tires. That's the name of the game right now for that 16 team. This should be the final pit stop cycle. I'm thinking we're at that point. This could be the final set of pit stops for everyone in the field. And Taylor, they're coming in this time by. It's the final onslaught. Let's get busy down in pit road.
Yep, this is going to be it then. No green flag pit stops in this race then. We're going to see the entire field come down pit lane, except for maybe a couple of those guys a lap or two down. And the race comes back down to how good those pit crews are. Edson Santos then pulling slowly across into his pit lane. Gonna get it stopped nice and squarely in that pit box, I reckon. Ooh, he's got a bit deep. Has he missed his box? No. Oh my god, perfectly placed.
A little bit of smoke, but everyone's fine, yes.
So, here we go. He's first to drop down off the Ajax. Pulls out of his pit box nice and cleanly. Austin Farr follows not far behind. Craig Forsyth, though, just gonna beat Austin Farr off the pit lane. And your order coming to the green flag next time by is going to be Edson Santos from Craig Forsyth, from Austin Farr, Emily Howe, Alex Miller, Alex Martin, Mo Perry, Bobby Blowers losing a position as they gaining a position as they shuffled out there, Bruce Silva and Lilac Zier rounding out the top 10.
Big for Santos. I think it's even bigger for Craig Forsyth. He got through, split the middle between Farr and Santos there, and that's a huge deal now with 28 to go. We'll go green with 26 laps left. We are in the home stretch here in Fontana. This could come out to be 60-odd minutes flat the way things are looking. It's been a fast race here from Auto Club, and the fast times are due to unfortunately come to a quick end. Craig Forsyth, among others, gearing up one more time, and I think for Forsyth, this is a very good opportunity here. He's led previously. If we take a look at the laps led category, tonight he has led a total of 1 lap. So not a lot, but we've seen him up there inside the top 3 for a lot of the night. It's not like this is a fluke to see him lead a lap or two. He's just now got to hone it in and go for the overall race victory, which, of course, much more challenging with how good Edson Santos has been. We'll come back to the green at lap number 69. Santos in control with 1 more lap of pacing.
Yeah, so a few of those, I don't want to say smarter drivers, but some of those guys who've been taking it a little bit more cautiously out there on track tonight, doing a little bit of fuel saving, that's all out the window now. It is a straight fight to the end of this race for everyone. It is go like hell 7,000 plus here at Auto Club Speedway. And I'm expecting some really, really good racing to come out of this one. I mean, we've already seen it, David. We saw in that last stint. This is my, I forgot to say it whilst we were in the moment, but this is my favorite sort of racing. You got the high speed, really high speed cars, plenty of downforce, just enough downforce, plenty of track temperature, and low track banking just means everyone has to use their brains a little bit and use all those different lines available to them to really maximize their machinery. That's when we get the best racing. Not races where you could just hold the inside and take the win nice and easy. But the pace car is coming in this time by, and we're going to see some really, really spicy fights now.
Edson Santos so far, he's been the man to watch, but I don't think it's a wrap by any means. 26 laps to go this time by. It's going to be the number 20 who leads the way. Here we go. Santos, the man in control, and it's going to be Austin Farr, Craig Forsyth, Emily Howe, Alex Miller, and many others still following suit. Here we go again. 26 laps to do it, and Santos leads us for the 3rd restart of the night.
It's an okay start from Edson Santos, but Craig Forsyth has gone to the inside straight away and is going to put himself in the box seat for this race. Edson Santos, though, getting a great run off that slightly higher line, but taking the inside line of turns 3 and 4 away from Craig Forsyth. Again, almost instantly, like he did to him on the restart. Austin Farr looking for that clean air on the low side this time to try and get up alongside Craig Forsyth, which he does, but that slightly tighter line and no help from anyone in front to give him the slipstream. It's going to hamper his run on the run down to turns 1 and 2. But he is going to stay side by side with Craig Forsyth. He's getting a little bit choked up behind behind last lap's race leader, Edson Santos. But that's Austin Farr now, taking the low side, making the run that he needs, not quite having the momentum to take the lead for this lap, but still going to have the advantageous line through turns 3 and 4. We are still 3 wide here at Auto Club for the lead with 25 laps to go.
Craig Forsyth didn't make it easy, but Austin Farr made it that much harder. 3 wide at the stripe advantage by just 1,000th of a second. That time by looked to be Craig Forsyth. Austin Farr going to be now 1,000th back in the line, and Santos 7,000th back. That would have been nearly a 3 wide finish, separate by 7,000th if that was the end, but it's nowhere near it. Austin Farr now going to be second as Craig Forsyth puts himself up top. That relegates Santos back to 3rd, and there he is again. Alex Miller on the high side trying to put himself in the lead bout. He's now just behind as they come across the stripe again. Austin Farr using multiple grooves, but it looks like wherever one driver here goes, the other doesn't, and it's that consistent counteracting. If you go high, I'll go low. If you go high, I'll go low again, and if you go low, that time I'll go high. That's the behavior, that's the attitude these drivers have. I will go where you don't, and right now it's worked out very well for everyone in the lead battle. Alex Miller is approaching. He's now in 3rd. He's gotten right up to Edson Santos, and it might be Miller who's been confined to the top 3 all night long, just to the outer skirt of it. Maybe time for him to dig deep and get up to the lead as Craig Forsyth, now with 22 laps to go, holds the lead just over Austin Farr. 1st and 2nd last week. They may dare to do once again, but Forsyth would love to be in reverse order with the 27 on top. Santos is back, and now he's up top with Alex Miller.
And there you go, there's Austin Farr holding on to the lead of the race at the moment. But clearly no love lost between Santos and Farr. Santos playing a part in Austin Farr's first race win in Champ Car so far this season, but not giving him anything in turns 3 and 4 a couple of laps ago. These cars had doors that have been dooring each other, but look at Emily Howe diving it to the inside of turns 1 and 2 to make a go at this race lead. She's not going to quite have the momentum off the corner, but she does come up in front of Austin Farr in the first place position. But Austin Farr, with all that momentum on the outside line, is going to bring it back down to the inside and retake the race lead, coming to 20 laps to go.
Oh, we now have ourselves another driver in the mix. It's Emily Howe. And you can also see there Edson Santos now going down to the bottom side to replicate the maneuver. There goes the number 20 way deep. And it might be good for the race lead yet again. Edson Santos coming from 4th on that previous lap at the line up to the lead again. And it's now going to be a 5-driver scuffle. Mo Perry from 22nd up to 6th is close. And Forsyth now drops in yet again. 3 wide. Been the name of the game for the past few laps here. Drivers trying different things. New tricks into the book. Alex Miller now finds himself side by side with Forsyth, and he actually gets by Craig there. 20 laps to go, and still counting down. Forsyth going to go down to the bottom side. He'll look under and try to cut deep. And this is going to work that time by Emily Howe. Now going to be firmly in 3rd. Maybe a chance to get up to Austin Farr and Edson Santos. But again, Edson sitting pretty here with now 19 remaining. Is this the move of the race? Getting back up there, slightly building a gap. And can it be held on to here for 19 more laps, knowing the circumstances as the pack chases down the line again?
Edson Santos has had Austin Farr's number every single lap so far this race, but Emily Howe is absolutely chomping at the bit to try and take the race lead off these two here. Brilliant racing up and down the field from these guys so far, using plenty of different lines to try and get all the clean air on their noses that they need. But Craig Forsyth, not quite able to make do with what he was given, has now dropped all the way back to P6, but we've seen how quick... Oh, there's a spin in the background.
And trouble in the back of the field. That looks to be way back, and it could have been Mo Perry. Oh, that it was. Mo Perry going to have trouble. Here's a full lap replay to show you again as Perry has an incident here from the front of the field.
Yeah, Mo Perry, our biggest mover so far today, just maybe getting a little bit too low on the low side. Emily Howe coming to take the air off their nose. Nice and cleanly through turns 1 and 2 there, but I think 3 and 4 is when it all came to a bit of a head. Everyone checking up a little bit behind Austin Farr. And, oh, it's contact. Craig Forsyth just carrying a little bit more speed through the corner than well, that was appropriate for being stuck behind Mo Perry. But it's not going to be a caution. The top 4 are still fighting here, but that's going to be Mo Perry's race effectively over tonight.
Looking back at the front 4, there's Edson Santos. Alex Miller now going to have a chance to go for 2nd here. That's the biggest move he's made all night long in the 49. Up to the catbird seat. Maybe now Miller, who's been saving it all up, is going to have a chance to go deeper and deeper in the corners. And the top side ace up to 2nd. And he's got a run here at Edson Santos. Taylor, this is one of the drivers we've seen all night long. So consistent in his line. He's perfected the craft up high. Now it's a weapon. What can he do with it here with such a small amount of time remaining?
It's going to be interesting to see. It's really difficult. Although that was Edson Santos getting a little bit loose off turns 1 and 2. Alex Miller just keeping a hold of his tires on that high line a little bit better. We've seen cars getting loose all race so far, and it's cost Edson Santos dearly, who's now slotted back in behind Craig Forsyth and Lilac Zier back up to P4. But Alex Miller now leading the race from Austin Farr, just taking away that inside line, defending the middle of the road at the moment from Austin, our championship leader. Checking everyone up behind him a little bit. Craig Forsyth then looking to the inside of Emily Howe, trying to make something work to get himself back up onto the podium. But with a brilliant bit of racing from all of these drivers so far, as Lilac Zier has been passed by Edson Santos now, as Edson is doing everything he can to try and get himself back to the front of this field. Plenty of air in front of the car to build the speed that he needs through the corner, and he's going to get right up alongside Frankie Wynn on the exit of turns 3 and 4 and ducks straight back into the slipstream with Craig Forsyth. But Wynn, though, cutting down back to the inside to maintain position. Oh, a bit of contact between Santos and Howe there. Santos, though, still holding that inside line to try and get back the positions that he lost. But these two fighting a little bit hard, could be losing time to the lead pack. Craig Forsyth, though, in all this, has actually managed to slot himself up into the lead. Craig Forsyth leads from Alex Miller and championship leader Austin Farr. And after that spin, Frankie Miller up to P4, knocking on the door of the podium.
Craig Forsyth all of a sudden the man to look out for, and Frankie Wynn looking for what could be 2 consecutive podiums. What a story it would be for this number 16 team to come through. But of course, every storybook, you got to keep writing the pages here with 12 still more to put in. And right now, Emily Howe going to take a spot right back from Frankie Wynn. Now looking to get it back from Alex Miller. Every driver, I think right now they're all still in jeopardy. Any spot can be taken, any spot can be lost at your own will. And right now, it looks like while Craig Forsyth has a gap, Austin Farr, the next man to chase him down. It's going to be a total now of only 11 laps to go this time by, 84 laps through and still counting down. Farr puts himself in a very nice position to maybe swoop down and under with Craig Forsyth, but Craig's going to go alone, and it looks like he won't have to worry. Farr choosing to stay up top. Emily Howe and Alex Miller continue to battle right behind here, and as we come down to the final 10 laps, Wynn in the top 5. Also going to be battling here, Bobby Blowers. Doug South is back in the top 10 himself here. And it's going to be an all-out battle of the ages here with 10 remaining in Fontana, 20 miles, and just a few minutes remain until it's settled here in California.
Austin Farr's really been struggling to try and make the move to the lead work so far this race, and he seems to be having just as much trouble with Craig Forsyth. Emily Howe, though, following both of these guys very closely, trying to make some work. But that's been such a massive reshuffle at the front of the field in these last couple of laps. Frankie Wynn, who was knocking on the door of a podium, is now dropped back down to P6. So we're just seeing a lot of shakes and moves at the moment as Emily Howe right to the outside, carrying so much momentum compared to the Austin Farr and Craig Forsyth, who chose low that side. And she's going to make a move for this lead, going straight to the high side once again. Craig Forsyth burning up his tyres a little bit perhaps in these last couple of laps, but that shorter line playing dividends this time by, and he should hold on to the lead over the start-finish line, but he's going to have no help on the inside, and Austin Farr is going to have all the run that he needs. If he picks his line right, he can go back to the lead here.
Now Emily Howe going to make it up to the top side to bring Austin Farr with. Craig Forsyth looking awful loading with 8 laps to go, and I'm still questioning who's really in the ideal position, because it looks like they've all been shuffling back and forth and back and forth.
Emily Howe to the lead from Craig Forsyth. He's burnt up his tyres a little bit too much, and Emily Howe, now maintaining her rubber on the high side, has now taken the inside line off Craig Forsyth and takes the lead with 7 laps to go, but they are going to be side by side over the line, separated by absolutely nothing. These top 3, though, even absolutely nothing between them right now. Austin Farr looking low. Craig Forsyth trying to defend from 2 previous ABN Champ Car race winners to try and take his first oval win this season.
Craig Forsyth just getting ahead again for what could be win number 2. He's been the quickest driver so far in California across both races, but he's still got 6 more laps to go to really settle it. Emily Howe, bottom side. Austin Farr right up top. They come to the stripe again. Alex Miller holds them all at bay. A little bit of contact there with Bobby Blowers, and Blowers goes high with Frankie Wynn with an opportunity going down low. Oh, there's one to the wall, and it's Bobby Blowers.
Is there going to be a caution? It's 1 car up on the high side. Are they going to throw a caution for this one? I'm not sure so far, but if Bobby Blowers comes to a stop, there it is.
The caution is out. It's going to be a green-white checker no matter what now.
What an unfortunate bit of contact there, but that's going to end Bobby Blowers' race straight away. He was running so well as well. Yeah, it's another moment of 2 cars into one, just not quite working out. But Bobby Blowers very much coming off worse. But this is going to give us one hell of a fight for the to the end of the race, because it's going to be a sprint to the finish with everyone nose to tail. Single file restart's going to maybe keep it a little bit safer, but Craig Forsyth from Emily Howe, from Austin Farr, from Alex Miller, the top 4 for this restart. This could go any way.
Now I'm trying to run the numbers. 2
Wait,
lap
hold
dash.
on. I don't want to interrupt too harshly here, David, but I just heard a lot of very, very high revving champ car engines. I think some of these guys are trying to burn some fuel. Just listen for a moment.
Let's take a ride on board with Craig Forsyth. You're right about that much. Burning it up quick.
If you know anything about race cars, what is it? They say, there was a number, but it's worth about, whatever it is worth about 0.3 of a second of pace per lap. And these guys are going to need absolutely everything they can get for these last couple of laps. So we've got a good chunk of this field clutch in, fully on the throttle, not burning out the engine too much, but just trying to keep the weight of the car as low as possible. Not only does that give you extra lap time in a lower weighted car, but you put in less energy through the tires and it takes less energy to get the car up to speed. So at this stage in the race, perhaps it's going to be the guys who have saved fuel that are really going to suffer to hold on, really going to struggle to hold on to their positions.
4 laps to go, and now we're just trying to run the numbers. 2-lap dash at the very most. It's going to be green-white checkered, all things considered here. Maybe a little less. White flag only. We've seen that in other racing disciplines, but with 2 miles. Craig Forsyth, regardless of how many laps he gets, I'm sure now is a big priority. That restart, maybe it's best it isn't even that great. We saw what happened with Edson Santos. He lost the lead in the opening lap of this restart, got it back immediately. That was not his pitfall. It was the long run that really got him. So maybe Craig Forsyth doesn't want to get too out of touch with the field right now. Maybe balance himself out, but that's risky too. There's no safe way to go around it by this point. We are in the final moments, and no matter if we get 2 laps, which it looks like we will, or if we were to get anything shorter, you gotta find the perfect way to balance it on the fly. You cannot predict what's next. We're in the point of no return, and we're going even further than that as Craig Forsyth comes across the line again. 3 laps to go. We will go green again with 2 laps remaining. It looks like the lights are off.
They are off.
Wow.
Yep.
Perfect opportunity for natural green-white checker.
Good old Brucey Forsyth at the front of the field here. His best bet for this restart is going to be to try and make sure Emily Howe gets as poor a restart as possible. If I'm in his shoes right now, I want Austin Farr behind me, because he's been in a position to not only watch Austin Farr all race, but battle with Austin Farr all race. We've watched Austin really struggle to make those moves work on the inside line, so as long as Craig Forsyth can keep taking the air off Austin's nose on that inside line, he should be able to hold on to the victory here tonight. But Emily Howe is still a force to be reckoned with, and if she even gets a sniff of a run on Craig Forsyth, she's not only going to go for it, but she's going to make it work.
It's time to go into the unknown in Fontana, California. Craig Forsyth, Emily Howe, Austin Farr. The iRacing pace car going to drop back this time by. Taylor, before we get into this one, you got any final thoughts before we lead into perhaps the most exciting point of the race?
I'll say what I say at the start of every F1 race. Safe race. Bring it home.
Here we go again. It's going to be a dash to remember. Craig Forsyth up in front out of turn 4. The iRacing official pace car is going to drop in, and we have ourselves a green-white checkered. Forsyth up in front. Emily Howe there in second. Let's get to it. 2 laps to go. Green flag and a fly with Forsyth keeping us in control. 2 laps in Auto Club.
And that is exactly what Craig Forsyth needed to do. Not a great start for Emily Howe, but it's just allowed Austin Farr to sneak to the inside of her in turns 1 and 2 and take P2 straight away. But look at the momentum Austin Farr's already got on the high side. That tighter line on exit, though, helping Emily Howe get back in the slipstream of Craig Forsyth. And there are going to be 3 wide coming through turns 3 and 4 this time.
Forsyth's going to be on the bottom. Emily Howe there in the middle. Alex Miller is there as well. The closest he's been to the lead all throughout. 1 lap to go. The white flag will wave for Emily Howe. We are now at the point of no return. This race will be official. Emily Howe down to the bottom side with Craig Forsyth up top. Austin Farr goes low with Miller rolling all the way up high. Forsyth now going to try to swap to the bottom. Fakes low, goes high instead. And it's going to be now Emily Howe defending right down low into turn 3. Emily Howe's got it low with 3 wide racing. Alex Miller tries high. Can't quite get it. Coming across the final corner. Emily Howe down low. Forsyth up high. Emily Howe wins it by a total of 33 thousandths of a second. The 83 back in victory lane.
How does this keep happening in ABN Champ Car competition? God, they've got me all in a twist. How many finishes have we had less than a tenth of a second so far this season? And it's happened again here at Auto Club.
No stranger to these victories at such short distances. And Fontana, the way we were racing, we were geared up for such a moment. Led only 3 laps tonight, and led the most important one. That is all that matters when it comes to getting the victory here. Emily Howe pulls through, collects the checkered flag, and is due to burn down the house. And there we have it. Yet another win for the 83 campaign, and perhaps the most intense restart of the season. Parking it in virtual victory lane, the 83 looks to be about done with celebrations. We're going to be unpacking this one for a while. We got 3 great drivers to speak to: Miller, Forsyth, and Emily Howe. We'll get them in momentarily here, but before we do, how about your overall race result from California? It's going to be at the top of the board, Emily Howe getting it done by a total tonight, of course, 33 thousandths of a second. Then from there, it's going to be Craig Forsyth, runner-up, and it's going to be Alex Miller, position number 3. 4th, Austin Farr. Then going to be Frankie Wynn 5th. Doug South came back despite all the troubles to finish in 6th. Nice run for the 88 team. Edson Santos then 7th, and Lilac Zier in 8th. Alex Martin 9th, and Nicholas Pressey to conclude the top 10.
Mo Perry finishes 11th, up 11 places from P22. Brilliant drive from them, but a late race incident costing them probably what they could have had towards the end there. Bruce Silva finishes P12, only up 5 places, but again, you've got to keep it clean to get a good finish here. Tommy Withers, P13. Pacey Wygent, who we saw at the front of the field, finishing only 14th tonight. Lily Pelletier Sharp finishing a lap down with the leaders, with a bit of late race contact with Carmen Sienna, I believe. Lily Fraser finishes 16th, and the admitted instigator of that contact, Carmen Sienna, finishes P17. Bobby Blowers is the first of your DNFs. He's already spent 8.5 minutes in the pit lane, followed by Bryce Saucier, Parker Alexander, Zach McBride, and Sophie Connell and Josh Gaiman, who went out with contact very early in tonight's race.